Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. As you notice, we have a new banner up, don't we? It's New Streaming Network, which is home of the Going Solo Media and Going Bold Media. So I want to welcome you to my show here tonight. It is called Going Solo with Cece, and those of you that I hope know me, and those of you I would love to introduce myself. I am Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. I'm a divorce, dating, and a life coach, and I am the founder and owner of the New Streaming TV network, or New Streaming Network, which is stands for Nonstop Entertainment Worldwide. So let's talk a little bit about what our topic is tonight, because unfortunately we were going to have a very cool topic. We're going to talk about moms for trans kids with Dr. Lou, but unfortunately it looks like she's either running late or she's not going to make it with us tonight. So what we're going to spin our wheels here. We're going to talk about transition, but we're going to talk about a different transition. We're going to talk about 10 ways to make it through your life's transition. I saw this article on Psychology Today, which is one of my favorite magazines, and is by Susan Whitborn. And, it really struck me because a lot of the situations that we go through life, we're just merely going through transitions, right? We go through transitions when we, enter high school and go through that learning process that we do in school. And then we get out of school and we go into into being adulthood. And I do apologize because I do have a green screen up and it doesn't seem to be working very well, but I thought it would be fun. So, but we make all these different transitions in our lives. We get married, we have children, and of course, I'm the doyenne of divorce, right? And so we go through divorce and different things like that. And so how do we make it through? How do we make it through that transition in our lives? And then we move on to retirement. A lot of people are going through that now, moving on through to retirement. So there's 10 ways, or 10 I think 10 tips that maybe I can help you with, and within this article. So one is to recognize that the transition and the place that it holds within your life. So often we think as a transition as being something that's really difficult, something that's really bad for us. But on the same token, it can also be a stepping stone for something really truly wonderful in our lives, right? So whatever we're making that transition from to, it could very well be a stepping stone into something even better that you ever thought for before. So what you want to do is you want to really embrace that. Think to yourself, okay, listen, I'm going through this. I'm going through this difficult time in my life. I'm making this transition, but I've got to believe that this transition is going to be bringing me through to something even better in my life. There's something in store for me, something that's waiting for me just to be able to unfold. And I think if we have that shift in our mindset that this is not going to be doom and gloom, we can actually change that transition into kind of a thought process of choice, right? A choice into moving forward in a very positive and wonderful way. So whatever transition you're making in your life, rather than think about it as a negative, let's think about it as a positive, something that's going to be cool happening to you that you just never expected before. So the second tip is to view the stress. As we go through all these different transitions in our life, we have a tremendous amount of stress that we're going through. And we look at stress as being a threat, right? Rather than it being a threat to us, the stress in life, let's think about it as a challenge in life. Let's think about it as something that we are going to be able to take this energy that we have, right? Stress is energy, right? Whether it's negative or positive, right? It's some sort of energy. So let's turn it into a positive energy, and let's take that stress and relieve it in different ways. Like we can exercise, we can do something different, step out of the box a little bit, try to, again, change our mindset, thinking something positive is going to happen. But we take that stress and we kind of liquefy it into another area of our lives, and we shift that. Again, we're shifting that mindset into a more positive thing. So for instance, a lot of people that are going through a relationship loss or something like that, they will go and start exercising. They'll start focusing on this new life that they're going to start designing for themselves, right? And we're going to talk about that a little bit later because that's also a tip as we're moving forward in our lives. So you want to put this energy, this negative energy as stress is, and you want to turn it and shift it into a positive energy. So think to yourself what you can do to be able to step forward and change this momentum that you're having into a more positive one. Then the next thing is, I've got two different ones up here, so I do apologize. The next thing is appreciate the benefits of the change. Gosh, so many times when we're going through change, all we can think about again is the difficulties that we're going to have with those changes. But the reality is those changes are going to create a shift for us, that's going to put us in a new projection and a new path and a new way of thinking, a new way of life. We're going to meet new people. We're going to do new things. We're probably going to embrace something that we've never embraced before, right? So we want to think about that as we're moving forward. We want to think about the benefits that this change has to us, because think about how boring life would be if all we do is get stuck in the same mundane things, right? It doesn't, your growth doesn't happen, your mindset doesn't happen. And so you want to change your routine. You want to stimulate yourself to be able to move forward. You want to create what does it say in here? It says changes in routine can serve as stimulation to your stagnant nervous systems and allow you to grow new neutral paths. So think about that, your nervous system, and allowing yourself to embrace this change that's happening to you. Think about the various benefits that you have that you can actually take that with you. So the next thing, number 4, is remember the times you successfully navigated a previous transition. That I think we can take with us tenfold, because as I said, we go through tremendous amount of change. Each step in our lives is a transition that we have to make, right? And we don't like to talk. I mean, a lot of my friends, oh, they hate that word change, right? So what I always say is I call it a shift, right? A shift in our lives. We're creating a wave, we're creating a shift in our lives, we're creating a path in our lives. And my grandmother used to tell me, she said, U-turns were made for me. So if I move something, I project myself into a way that I'm moving forward. I'm making this transition, and I don't think that it's all working out to my benefit. Guess what? I can either make a U-turn, right? I can backstep a little bit. I can stop. I can look at the situation and analyze it to see, am I really doing what I think is good for me? Or can I maybe do a sidestep? Maybe I need to say, you know what, this is working out, but I think if I go and do this, this may be better for me. And so often when we have transition in our lives, it's not the end of the transition, right? So often we'll do certain things, like it might put us on a path. Like, let's say, for instance, those of you that are out there and you're renting, right? Well, you're renting a place maybe you're not as happy with, but it's just a temporary situation for you. And it's not maybe your end all place that you're going to live, right? Because you have choices in life. You have choices that you can move forward. You can do different things. You can open yourself up to new environments. As an example, my son, he moved from Tampa. The job arena wasn't working out for him. He moved to Fort Lauderdale, got a job with a wonderful company, and he's excel. He loves them. He's doing really great. And now they've promoted him from Fort Lauderdale to Kentucky, and he went ahead and going to make that transition, and he's going full steam ahead, and he's going to open up his whole life to this new environment in Kentucky. He's planning on making new friends. He's planning on enjoying his new job. He's planning on creating a life for himself there. And he's got that mindset, right? He's got that shift in his mindset. He's not sitting there thinking like, oh gosh, this could be a failure. Oh gosh, this could not work out for me. Oh, all this negative stuff that he could actually put in his mind, right? And create this stress for him. Instead, what he's saying is, oh, all these wonderful, beautiful opportunities are going to open for me. And I am just there waiting for that to happen. So that's what you can also do. You can do the same thing. But if it's not working out exactly as you want, it's a transition, which means that you are going to continue on moving forward, moving in a path and direction that you want to take. So you then can analyze it. You can stop for a moment, analyze it, and see, is this truly what I want in my life? Is this something that I want to take a little bit of a back step to? I want to hold here in a holding pattern a little bit to try to assess myself, to try to see what I need to do. Do I need to get more education in maybe the field that I want to go into? Do I need to maybe make more friends in where I'm at? Do I need to look at the dating arena, that where I'm dating? What kind of people am I actually dating? Because so often those that we're dating, if we find them to be negative, the reality is it's a reflection upon ourselves. So we have to think about ourselves. So you have to think about the transition that you're going through and what it is as you want for your end result. And take your time, take your pace, right? Create a pace that's good for you. And maybe you want to, be there a little bit to try to analyze it, figure it out. Again, maybe you want to sidestep a little bit, maybe make a little detour, see if this is going to work out for you. See if maybe this area in your life might work a little bit better. We have all these different areas in our life, right? And so how are they all working for you? Look at all of those different areas in your life and find out if they are working well for you. And if something isn't working well for you, that's the area that you need to work on with regards to the transition in your life. So let's see the next one here. So we want to think back on previous times. I guess I missed that one. You want to talk about, how many times in your life have you been successful in a transition, right? How many times has something happened to you in your life that things have done very well, have gone very well? So when we're making a transition in our life, we want to think about sometimes those things and think about, what did it take for us to be able to get there? For us to be able to move forward, right? For us to be able to assess that this is really good for us. And so when we look back at those things that we maybe did to be able to propel ourselves forward, to be able to move forward, then we can take those things and incorporate them into the transition we're making here today at this very moment, right? And maybe some of the things that didn't work out, maybe we also have a learning curve, right? We've learned our lesson as we've moved forward in life. And we say, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing this again. This is a path I don't want to take. This is something that I remember that I did before that didn't work out for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different. Maybe I'm going to incorporate some of that within my life, but maybe I'm going to, go in with my eyes wide open, so to speak, right? So you want to look back at your past and see what you've made that's been successful for you. The other thing is, turn to your support network. Everyone should have a support network. If you don't have one, you need a support network, right? And it can be family. And if you've got family, like I have family, I have family members that are the most supportive people in my life that I just can't believe. Then I have family members that are the most negative and the most, ones that you just would never ever dream that. So you don't go to those people, right? And so the same thing with friends. I have friends that propel me and push me and tell me constantly that I can succeed in something that even I doubted, right? But they didn't doubt me. And then you have other friends that are very negative, and they're, Debbie Downers, and they don't want anything for you in your life or whatever, because they don't want anything for themselves, right? They don't see a path for themselves to be more move forward. So what you want to do is you want to gather up those that are supportive to you, your support system, and those are the ones that you want to go to. So you don't want to go to the negative family members, you don't want to go to the negative friends. You want to go to the positive ones and ask them honestly, listen, I'm thinking about doing this. What are your thoughts on it? And sometimes they may not tell you not to do something, because everything someone does individually could be different from what somebody else had tried to do, right? So I could be successful at something that you tried that maybe worked out for me, and vice versa. You could be very successful at something I've tried and I failed. It's just kind of the way it goes sometimes. But when you talk to them, what you want to do is you want to pull out some of those positive things and positive ideas that maybe you might be able to incorporate into the transition that you want to make. They may have some good suggestions. I've had some friends suggest some great things for me. I was looking for a new place to live. And I'll be straight up. Where I was living, they raised the rent a great deal, and I found, gosh, I just can't possibly afford it. And so they have made all these suggestions, all these different things to do, and that's exactly what I've done. So I've been in a bit of a transition myself, and I've learned a great deal as I continue to move forward in that. And I hope that when you, whatever this transition is that you're going through, you will do the same. So get supportive people in your camp, right? And talk to them and rely on them to boost your spirits to be able to move forward in your life. But know that whatever you're about to embark on, whatever you're going to do, it is your choice. And it is your choice to be successful. It is your choice to move forward in a positive way. And you can do it. And so it's really taking that mindset and being open and shifting yourself to it. And that supportive individuals that you have, that supportive network will certainly help you. There's tons of ways to do that. You can go to online, whatever transition that you're making. Let's say you're going through divorce and you're transitioning into a new single life. You can go online and there's groups like that. You can go on meetup.com. There's interest groups if you decide you want to go into and learn something new. If there's some sort of let's say a job that you want to be able to go in and fulfill, you can go online. You can join groups online on Facebook. You can actually join groups on meetup.com. You can talk to other business leaders, because I tell you what, business leaders, a true good business leader will talk to anyone to help them move forward. So if you've got a job that you're thinking, listen, this is truly what I want to do, go and talk to the people in that field and they will help you. They will tell you different things to do, things to stay away from, how they got to be successful, what they've done. And then you can incorporate those things into your life to be able to help you move forward. And that leads me to the next step, is prepare. So often, as we move forward in our lives, we cannot make just change, okay, bam, wham, bam, and make a change in our lives. It doesn't always happen like that. Or sometimes we're like thrown out to the wolves, right? And we do have to make a change. And again, I'm sorry about this green screen. It's a little bit weird, a little bit wonky. But sometimes we have that happen. But what we have to do is prepare ourselves, right? We have to prepare ourselves mentally to be able to sustain what we're going through, right? Because we don't want the stress to get to us. So we have to be able to prepare ourselves mentally. We have to have our support system that's going to help bring us up when we're down, give us good ideas as we're moving forward. If we're going to change fields, right? If we're changing a new horizon of some sort, whether it be a new job, whether it be a new location, whether it be a new lifestyle, right? Moving from divorce or relationship loss into being single is a new lifestyle. We have to be able to start being prepared for that, which means we need to start looking at different ways to do that. We have to start looking at different, and try to start designing the life that we want. Think about it. You could actually design the life that you want. And so you want to start doing your research on it, reading up about it, understanding what other people go through and what they're experiencing, right? Find out what kind of person you want to be. Because often, I know you've heard me say this time and time again, the person that you are today is not who you were yesterday, nor is it going to be who you're going to be tomorrow. So as you move forward and you continue to learn about yourself, you continue to grow within, and you continue to shift your mindset and open yourself to new possibilities, you become and you step forward into this new person you want to be. And so start designing that for you. Start preparing, start planning it. I'm a big list person, so get out a piece of paper and start making a list of what it is that you want to accomplish. Where do you want to see yourself, in 5 years, 10 years, today, tomorrow? Start writing some of those things down. Start creating a dream list for yourself, what you truly want to accomplish in your life, what you truly want to have in your life. Because when you start planning, right, when you start moving forward and thinking about all these wonderful things that you want in your life, guess what? Those doors start opening for you because you create the vibration and it raises, and that starts creating a shift and a swirl that happens within your life. So people start coming into your life that you never even dreamed of, and they'll start helping you and making these things happen for you. Create a vision board for yourself that you will see each and every day, even though those things aren't happening to you. Go out. I'll tell you right now, go out, get a poster board at Walgreens or CVS or whatever, right? It doesn't even have to be a big one, but go out, and I'm sorry, I'm disappearing, but go out and I get my mother would have loved that, just me disappear like that so easily. But go out, get yourself a poster board, and then get some magazines and things like that, of some interest magazines that you might very well want, and start cutting some things out that you want. Years ago, I did and I will share with you, I did a dream board. And I put on the dream board, that I wanted to be, right at that time, I was going through hell. I was going through my divorce. I thought my life was over. It was so difficult for me. So I put on there a beach chair, and I wanted to have a relationship in my life. I put on two empty beach chairs looking out over the water. And I wanted, for me, that represented peace, and that I would have somebody in my life that would fill that other beach chair, right? So I put that on. I put on various different things that I wanted. And I will tell you that at that time in my life, when I started doing that every morning, I put it right by my bed. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, bang, my eyes are open, I see that vision board, and I take a moment, and I would focus on that, and I would say, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I strive for. And I tell you, I don't know what the time frame was, but everything on that vision board happened for me. I needed a car. I was so desperate. I needed a car. And believe it or not, then I got my little green car. My honey money, I call her, because she saved me a lot of money on gas. And I love her. I love her today. I still have her. And so that, the car came into my life. I had put a car on there that I wanted. I didn't want just any old car. I wanted a car that was good on gas. I wanted a car that would fit, like a four-door, and my son's tall, so I wanted him to be able to fit in the car. I wanted all the bells and whistles on the car, and I wanted it to be new. I wanted a new car, and I thought, at the time when I put it on there, I thought, how could I possibly dream for something like that? I was so broke. I felt like I was destitute. I was living with my girlfriend. I have my own apartment. I put a space on there of what kind I wanted, what kind of apartment I wanted. I put that up on there, and I eventually got my own place. I did meet someone that I dated for a while, and it, was really great. We used to go to the beach all the time and sit in beach chairs, and it was just with an umbrella, and it was awesome. And it's like everything that happened on that board came true, and I manifested it, right? I kept thinking, yes, I'm entitled to it. I can have it. I can dream it. I can make it happen. I can work hard. It can do these things. So that transition that I was making from this horrible divorce that I was going through, where I was just destitute, I didn't give up on it, right? I kept propelling myself into moving forward into something bigger and better for myself. And so we need to do that. We need to think that we possibly can do that and start preparing for it. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, what do I need to do, right, to be able to do that? To achieve these things, what do I need to do? One is I need to save my money, right? I can't spend any money. The other thing is, how can I make more money, right? And how can I also feel, at the time, I wanted to be able to give back, right, to the community, give back and doing something. And that's when I started doing more of the Going Solo Network, and I started building out the Going Solo Network. And so I wanted to do that, and I did it mainly for me, believe it or not. Even though I'm helping thousands of people, I did it because it's something that I felt like I needed so desperately at the time, that I knew other people needed it too. So what I'm saying to you is, prepare, right? Think about what it is that you want to do and start preparing for that. When I started doing that, all I did is I took all my energy, and I'm disappearing again. I took all my energy and I put it into preparing. I put it into, okay, what do I need to do? I started making lists of what to do. I made a list every day of what I needed to do. What I didn't get done, I moved it over to the next day, and I did that, and I worked and worked and worked. I would get up in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. I worked till 1 o'clock in the morning. I just kept doing it and doing it over and over again. It was not a job for me. It was not a chore for me, but it was a way of me to help make that transition in my life work, right? So the more you plan, the more you can make it happen. So that is definitely something that I would recommend doing. And it also gives you that busy busy stuff, right, that you do. Use transition as time to reflect on your life, where your life has been and where it's going. And I think that is the beauty of the transition, right? Is to be able to reflect. How many times in life do we get do-overs, right? How many times in life do we get to say, you know what, this didn't work for me? Like when I look at my relationships of past, I think to myself, wow, I cannot believe as much effort and love and energy I put into those relationships, they didn't work. Because I kept thinking to myself, why didn't they work? But the reality was, wasn't just depending upon me. It was also depending upon my partner. And so what I decided is that, I wasn't going to give up on having a relationship with someone, but I wanted to start thinking about, what could I change? What kind of boundaries do I need to set? That's good for me. So number one, I don't get hurt again. Number one, I don't allow anyone to ever get into my physical space again to do harm to me. So I set boundaries for myself. I started thinking about my relationships as more of a technical, than as just falling in love and being like, stupid on movies. Love and relationships are not a Hallmark movie, right? And it's not real. So, what I had to do is I had to stop and think about my relationships and analyze them and start understanding that I had seen those red flags that were happening, but I didn't stop, right? I allowed myself to continue to move forward into that relationship to the point where at times and couple of the relationships almost killed me. And so I just needed to know that I have to stop and not allow that to happen to me. So I have to set boundaries for myself. So I think it's good for us to look back at our relationships that we've had, back on our jobs that we've had in our lives, back on different things as we're making a transition. Not to say beat ourselves up that we made different decisions in our lives that didn't pan out. Because the reality is we have to make decisions, right? We have to be able to move forward. But the beauty is we can take the things that didn't work and we can learn from those things and we can move forward and realize, gee, you know, this didn't work, but this worked in the relationship that I had. This worked in the business opportunity that I had. We can start dragging those pieces out that worked, that was positive for us, and we can start incorporating that into our new life as we continue with the transition in life. So often we want to not go to the dark places in our lives, right? But sometimes we have to go to the dark places so that we can understand the boundaries we must set for ourselves. And when we set those boundaries for ourselves, and boundaries are not something that, is a taboo thing. It's everybody sometimes thinks boundaries are like a real negative thing. They're not. Boundaries is not a place where it keeps a fence that you can't move forward, but it creates an awareness, right? It creates an awareness for you so that when you step forward in moving into whatever the transition might be, when something negative happens, you're going to see that. And then you're going to realize, is this something that I truly want in my life? Or is this something that I need to analyze it? I need to maybe take a side step, or I need to stop where I am, and then I move forward. Because I think that we want to create not a boundary as a way of saying, okay, you crossed my boundary, that's it, I'm done. But it's creating an awareness when we say, listen, this is not working for me, whether it be a job or whatever. I remember one time I worked at this law firm in the city. Okay, don't bark, sweetie. Don't bark. I worked in Chicago. I think it was downtown Chicago. I worked for this law firm. And I was so excited about working, had a temporary position in this law firm. I thought, yeah. But, it's a big predominant law firm. I was really happy about it. The first time I'm working in I never really liked to work in big companies because I always felt like I would get lost in them. So anyhow, I was working in this big company, and there were several of us ladies that were in there. And this one attorney, oh my gosh, he was yelling and screaming and slamming things and so unbelievable abusive, to the staff that was there. that because of my background, right, because of what I've experienced in my life, it was like, no way, I am not putting up with that. And I remember it was like my second day there or whatever. And he started behaving like that and throwing things. And it was just, and I just stood up and said, you know what? This is not for me. I will not work in an environment where there's an abusive situation. And that attorney was like, whoa, he couldn't believe that I did that. And then later on, he stopped, went into his office, and then later on he asked me to come in. He talked to me and everything, and he said, well, I don't want you to quit, because of it. And he, said, sorry and blah, 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 blah. But the reality is this man, this was his behavior. His pattern was not going to change, right? But what could change was me, right? I could change. I could say, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. There are jobs out there that will pay me. I don't need to put up with this. And so I had set my boundary and I said, you know what? No criticism on you. However, I do feel that you need to get some help because this is abuse that you're doing to your staff here. And I left. I left that job and I went on to get another job. I was working for a temporary service. I went back to them. I told them about it. They said, absolutely not. And they didn't put any more people in that job. So they found me and they found me another one, which was awesome. And it was it was an accounting firm that I worked for and they were wonderful. And I worked in the legal department there and they were terrific. And I just loved them. We used to watch Wimbledon on TV, and actually Wimbledon was right there, because I was in London there at one time, and so yeah, so we always watch that on TV. We do all kinds of fun things together, and so that's what I'm saying to you. So even though something doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that the next thing won't be bigger and better, right? So that's what we want to think about when we're making that transition. So we want to take those nuggets from our past, and we want to again, we want to realize what they are, set our boundaries, set our mindset of what it is that we want. And if something comes up that we don't want, we have to be brave enough to step out of the box and say, hey, no criticism to you, but this isn't working for me. This is just not working for me. And I've had to do that in relationships where great guys, absolutely great guys, but the way they were treating me wasn't working for me. And I have my mindset of how I want to be treated. And so we have to do that. We are, we are the designer of our lives, right? We orchestrate what our lives are going to be. And if we're not happy, it's up to us to make those changes, right? Create that transition as we move forward in our lives. So let's see what the next one is. How are we doing on time? Because I do talk, don't I? My mother told me, I remember one time when I went to school. I think I've told you guys this before. I went to school and I got in trouble, right, for talking all the time. And my mother, I came home and my mother said, Cece, you've got to stop talking all the time in school. She said, what kind of job are you going to get if all you do is talk all the time? Look at me now. Ha ha. Mom, I wish you were alive now that I could tell you what kind of job I have. So, okay, now we talked about focusing on the positive aspects. And so we want to understand that we need to do that. Another thing I want to talk about is decluttering our lives, right? So we want to declutter our lives, meaning those people that are not positive and won't support us, we need to declutter them. We can love them where they're at, but we don't need them necessarily straight up and into our lives, right? We can declutter our area that we're in. If we have our areas cluttered, if we don't get the right vibration, right, from where we're living or what we're doing, then we need to do something and take action for that, because you want to definitely do that. So not only are you decluttering, your environment, but you also have to start decluttering your mind with all these negative things that are going in through your mind. You want to be positive with that. So you need to create a really positive outlook, a positive um, place for you to be able to be. Next thing is role models who inspire you through this transition. Look at different people that have made transitions. And we've got tremendous amount of hosts and guests in our environment here on the Going Bold and Going Solo on the new streaming network. And you're going to find new streaming TV on Roku. You go to the Box Cast app, that's BOXCAST, and download the app, and we're right there on Roku. We appear live. I'll be live streaming this show right there. And so, you definitely want to do that because it's very important for you. But you want to find role models that you can look and see what they did. What the heck did they do in their lives to be successful, right? How did they come and turn their lives around from, and we've got like the Divorce Coalition, tremendous amount of people in there who have experienced abuse in their lives, who have turned their lives around, and now, and I'm sorry I'm disappearing, but then now they're working in an environment where they're helping other people turn their lives around. Those are role models, I think. Look at whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to get into a field of sports, look and find out what did they do to make that transition? How did they go from being just a mediocre baseball player to being a star? Right? Being the best on their team. How did they do that? Probably practice, 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 right? Setting the goals, making them happen, doing all those kind of things, right? Prepare, prepare, prepare. But how did they go about doing that, right? So you're creating these role models, you're looking at them, you're reading about them, you start envisioning your life to be able to and create your life like that. And so again, that's creating a very positive mindset for you. But look at your role models and be able to establish who they are, where you want to be, where you want to go, where you want to end up, and look at how they did that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We got buzzers going and everything. Okay. And then the last thing is realize the change is inherited to your life. So without change, our life courses would be just dull indeed. And so we want to seek change. We do want to seek change. We do want to seek transitions. We do want to seek different things in our lives. We don't want the same old thing all the time. Even when we find the most perfect person to share our lives with, we still want to create new environments, new experiences, right? We want to create new experiences in our lives as we move forward. So this transition that we're making today is going to be awesome because we're going to continue on moving forward in our lives, making it a very positive outlook, looking into the future, not into the rearview mirror other than to set boundaries for ourselves so that we can move forward in a very positive way. I actually think this is cool, this disappearing. This would be great like on Halloween and be able to do a show on Halloween. Thank you so much. What does it say? Oh, thank you so much. Great talk. It's so scary out there alone in life. Yes, it is. And so just know that you're not alone. What my motto always was that you might very well be single, but you're not necessarily alone. And so just remember that because it's important to know that whatever your experience, there's somebody out there experiencing the same thing, right? So just know that they're out there. And so find great shows, find one thing great about YouTube and Facebook and all these videos and things that go on, you can research and Google what it is that you're going through and start going through some of these positive things to be able to create this for you. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to step out of the box and do something different that no one's ever done. I mean, gosh, the first time I did a talk show, which was on the radio and nobody could see me, thank God, I thought I was going to pass out. Now I do shows all the time and I can do them at a drop of a hat, And so, we had a great interview today with El Bar on the Divorce Coalition. And unfortunately, Beverly was sick and I just stepped right in and did the interview. But I mean, years ago, I would have been, oh my gosh, I would have been probably peeing in pants. It would be terrible to say. But I'm telling you, you want to embrace new experiences in your life, really create a new life for yourself. That's really truly what you want to do. And just whatever transition you're making, whether it be from some sort of a walk of life, some sort of work, I'm sorry, I'm disappearing. Or if it's a relationship, or if it's retirement, or whatever transition that you're making. If you're going from, being in a relationship to being single, just know that wherever you're at today is not where you're going to be tomorrow, and you are the designer of your life. Right. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this show. I'm really sorry that the one that with Dr. Lou, I was thinking it'd be so different, something kind of cool that we would have. But I want you to know that if you are feeling really down, and you feel like, close to suicide, because I tell you, some people, when they're making transitions in their life, they get very depressed. You can call 988. It's a suicide and crisis hotline, 24/7, free, it's confidential, to support people in distress, prevent the crisis resources for you and your loved ones. So if you find anyone that is going through a very difficult time, talking about suicide or anything crisis in their life, just call 988 and talk to them. But please know that transition can be a beautiful thing. And sometimes when we're making the transition, we think it's the worst thing that could ever happen to us. And then it ends up to be a blessing in disguise. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. If you want to reach me, I'd love to hear from you. You just go to goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. You can send me a message. I would love to hear from you. You can check out our websites. Oh, thank you. My entire family is gone. Great job. Thank you. Wish more people were here. I'd listen to Buddhist monks. Oh, okay. Is this your channel? Yes, it is my channel. So I hope that you will listen. We've got wonderful, wonderful hosts on, and I hope you will listen to the shows here. And send me an email. It's goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. My website is goingsolonetwork.com. And of course, all of our shows are right there on the new streaming. It's New Streaming TV and newstreamingnetwork.com. And so that's for the home of the Going Bold, home of the Going Solo, and also the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network radio. So we have our own live streaming 24/7 radio station. So I love you guys. I want to thank you so much for listening to us. This is the show Going Solo with Cece. And again, I'm Cece Shatz, the Doyenne of Relationship Building. And I am so proud to be with you here tonight. And I want to thank you so much for your support each and every time. You're a blessing. And without you, I would not be here. So thank you so much. This is great. Is the info below this talk? Yeah, in our show notes, we usually have it. I'm going to have to adjust our show notes, though, on this show because it was something else. But yeah, Going Solo with Cece. Thank you. Thank you, Cece. Thank you so much for your blessing. Thank you. Bliss, Bliss, we appreciate you. And I love the picture you have sitting by the beach. That's where you want to be. You want to relax by the beach and enjoy your life. That's truly wonderful. Well, listen, we got another show right after here. We're going to have the Veterans Corner. So Going Solo with the Veterans Corner. And so don't miss that show because it is a blessing to have that one and talk to all the veterans. Just what wonderful individuals they are. And we're going to have a great show coming up. So stick around and we'll be right back. And again, I'm Cece Shatz. I want to thank you so much for listening to newstreamingnetwork.com. All of our shows are right there. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night, everyone. Bye for now.